if you're not feeling so good right now, if you're feeling like you don't have a purpose, you're worrying a lot, and you feel basically like you have no joy, then I want to share with you a very simple habit that will change that and enable you to be much happier and joyful consistently over the long run. I'm not talking about a quick fix right here. I'm talking about a long-term change, completely different mindset. If you want that joy, if you want peace, and if you want a deeper relationship with Jesus, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell, and I'll hook you up with some future videos. Why not? So this is the advice. We can access joy by choosing to be grateful, but it's not as simple as that, because some people believe just think positive, just focus on the positive in life, just don't focus on the negative. Then you'll be happier, you'll be more fulfilled, you'll be more joyful. But it's not as simple as that, because we have to be intentional about this. We have to be disciplined about this. Gratitude, choosing to focus on the positive, is not an easy task, as you may know. It's very hard to focus on the things that are good in your life when the negative things completely overwhelm you. And so how do you do that? Well, I'm going to propose a challenge that I'm also going to do. It's a 7-day gratitude challenge. Every day, you have to think only positive thoughts. If a single negative thought comes into your mind, you have to banish it immediately. And I mean immediately. And don't start this challenge unless you know that you're gonna follow through for 7 days. Don't start it and then quit after the 2nd or 3rd day. Continue with it. If a positive thought enters your mind, feed on it. Really enjoy it. Feast on it as if it's your favorite food. Let it completely fill you up. If a negative thought comes in, then you should replace that with the reality of the situation. Because when a negative thought comes into your mind, for example, I hate my job isn't so good right now, I'm not getting paid that much. If something like that enters your mind, then you have to replace it with the reality of the situation. So really, the reality of the situation usually is positive, right? If you think about it, 2 billion people in the world are living off less than $1 a day, and you have a job. If you think about it in those terms, you think, oh damn, I really have so much right now that so many people don't have, and God has blessed me with this job that I can use to earn money and to live a happy, healthy, comfortable life. Even if you don't think it's that comfortable, then compared to some people, there's always someone in a worse situation than you. If you replace the negative thought with the reality of the situation, then you really wake up to how blessed you are. God wants us to have joy. I worked in a cafe for 4 months. I really did not like working there. It was pretty stressful and I didn't get paid that much. But I chose to be joyful, and because of the decision that I made every day to spend just 5 minutes in gratitude, I cannot tell you the difference that made. I walked in smiling into a busy kitchen, and I was serving drinks and I was smiling, and I was doing all of that because I chose actively to be joyful. And it's hard to choose to be joyful. I have much respect for all of those people in the world who are able to be joyful consistently. God also wants us to have joy. What parent wouldn't want us to have joy? Because we're children of God. This is another reason to have joy right here. When we run into problems and trials, we know that they help us to develop endurance, and we can rejoice in those trials because we know that God has put them in our lives for a reason. Everything He's put in your life, He's put there for a reason. If we stay close to Him, we can use those trials to learn from, to develop an even stronger sense of joy. Because if we survive something that is hard, then it's much easier to be joyful when easier circumstances come along. And of course, circumstances do have an effect on us, but we can minimize that effect drastically by engaging in a joyful, grateful mental workout. It's hard, it's like building a muscle. If you haven't exercised in a while, then it's very hard to start again. But once you're going, it's easy. You build momentum and you go on some kind of positive spiral. You are so joyful that it's off the charts. Every journey like that starts with a single choice to do that. And the benefits of joy are endless. When we choose to be joyful, it means we're more likely to be successful. We are so much closer to God. We are basically not depressed. The goal of every human being is to be happy. I mean, if you think about it, that is the goal of every human being. And so if we choose to be miserable, and we choose the negative thoughts, the reason we choose them is because it's easy to be negative and it's hard to be joyful. But if we were to choose the hard route, then we would have much more happiness, and in the long run it'll be much easier anyway. Just leave you with this last quote. "For I know the plans that I have for you, says the Lord. They are plans for good and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope." Think about that. God's plans for us are for good, not for disaster. And His will for us is much better than any plans that we could have for the future. So any plans that you want to have for the future, God's plan's better. It may be hard to believe that, but it's true. And if we believe that, then we will see those plans come into fulfillment. And the way that we see those plans, God's plans, come into fulfillment is by being joyful and rejoicing even when the season is not so good. Joy is a habit. This is the last thing that I want to say. Joy is a habit. If you practice it every day, you will master it. It will become easier and you will be more grateful. Like I said, it will be an upward spiral. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. In the future, I will hopefully release even more videos that talk about this. If you're looking for something else to watch, I made a video about how to stop overthinking. If you find yourself doubting, overthinking, not believing God's plans, you're just worrying about everything, then check out that video, because the tips that I share have really helped me to stop overthinking. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.